Hi, I'm Traci.
And I'm Leena.
And we love healing children.
In fact, we're the co-owners and founders of Healing Children, LLC.
And this is our podcast, The Bumpy Road to Healing, where we get real about what children need emotionally.
And how best to support them.
We skip the fluff.
And get right to the heart of it.
Hey, Esther, how are you?
Except I am kind of a little frustrated with my new teacher.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, so like my old teacher, just every day she would write an entire agenda up on the board and we knew exactly when everything was happening and exactly what was due when. And it was just like really, really helpful. And I just really liked it. And now this teacher, he is wild. Like, I don't even know what to say. Just like wild. Like he was teaching us about the stars. And then one kid was like, yeah, I like the stars when I'm camping. And then he's like, let's build a fort. A fort? Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. It's just ridiculous.
So a little bit more spontaneous than your last teacher.
A lot more spontaneous, I would say.
And you're not really a big fan of spontaneity. You kind of want to know what to do and when to do it. You kind of like all that structure, don't you, Esther?
I guess, yeah.
And so it sounds like you're kind of getting used to a new way of doing things.
Do I have to? I mean, isn't he just a bad teacher?
Oh, I don't know. There might be something to be learned to building a fort when you're doing astronomy and trying something new. There might be a lot of learning in that for you, especially because you're a kid who likes to have control over things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't really get it.
Well, we're going to be talking about it in our podcast. We're going to be talking about the healing environment and different teaching styles and how kids can learn from all different kinds of styles. And in some styles, you might connect to more than other styles. That's kind of normal, but you still can learn with being with a teacher who does things maybe opposite of what you do or would do.
Yes.
And I want you to be thinking about that while we talk about thinking about what could I learn from this situation? How could this make me better? How could this make me grow?
Okay, well, I'll think about it, but I can't possibly imagine what he has to teach me.
I remember having lots of different teachers, lots of different kind of teachers. And some teachers were like, had high expectations for me. And there was part of that I really loved and learned from.
Yeah.
Other teachers were really funny.
Yes.
Or other teachers, you could kind of get off topic, but you're still learning together.
Yeah.
And I love that we have such a variety of teachers because through that variety, different needs were met.
Absolutely. And you learned a little bit about yourself as a student, depending on what your teacher was all about. For me, I always had a hard time. I don't like change, as you know. And then every time I got a new teacher, it was like, I didn't like them at first because they weren't like the last one.
Yes. Kind of what Esther's been talking about.
Yeah. And then I got into the class and got to know them a little bit. And then I always ended up really loving them at the end. And you always learned a little bit because they see different parts of you.
Yes.
Right. And then it helps you see different parts of yourself, and that's all really important. I think that's really the joy for educators is to be able to work with kids and really help them grow.
Yes.
We love that.
And some teachers bring in, they just bring in such different things, which kind of relates to it does relate to our healing environment.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of alluded to this in our other podcasts. But we have what's called the healing environment. And what it is it's a model of what kids need, right? And so really what it looks like you've got your base, which is relationships. You've got the structure of your house, which is boundaries and discipline and accountability. You have your roof, which is the adult self-control, the adult role modeling, making sure that there's healthy adults working with our children.
Yeah.
We have empathy. We have appropriate choices. We have acceptance, appropriate encouragement. We have humor. All of those things are very important parts of the house.
And it's understanding it's kind of emotionally what we're bringing to the table. Because I think sometimes people think a healing environment, like, are we bringing the environment in? Like,
oh yeah, they think like what do I have to set up my structure a certain way?
Yeah, and
is it the bulletin boards?
Yeah, and it's emotionally looking at like, no. It's kind of what you're bringing to the table. Like some teachers, you and I have been in the schools for a long time. Some teachers, like you said, they bring in the humor and they have fun with the kids. Or some teachers are very nurturing, or some teachers are kind of strict. And it's looking at what that environment looks like for that teacher and how they want to run their classroom. So it's kind of figuring out. I love the healing environment because it gives a concrete way to look at what kids need from us as educators. And sometimes it depends on the day. Like sometimes the day they need more boundaries, and sometimes on the day you can have more fun and they need more acceptance. Sometimes they need more encouragement from us. So, but it gives us something concrete, because if a kid is really struggling, let's say we have a kid on the playground who is chronically hitting kids, calling kids names, they don't get their way, they are continually misbehaving. And maybe the outside playground assistant is having them sit on the wall. That's one thing that we do. Or they're giving them behavior notes and they still are doing the behavior. So that's when we can look at the house and say,
is there something missing in this?
Are they missing something? Are we trying to connect with that student and have a relationship? Because maybe they need more of a relationship from us. Do they need different boundaries, different kinds of boundaries? Do they need more encouragement?
Yeah.
We can kind of look at, are we missing something and can we fill in those holes?
Well, I know one of our psychologists who came to one of our trainings took a picture of our house, had the picture from our training, and was in a behavior meeting. And she said, as they went through all the information, she said, I realized there was a crack in the foundation.
Yes.
That was the piece of the puzzle that was missing for this child.
Yes.
And so having that visual concrete can be really helpful. It may not tell you exactly what strategy to use, but it can give you clues as to what is missing.
That's right. Well, I think that's what I love about the house is there's a lot. Let's just talk about developing relationships with kids. There is a lot of ways to establish a relationship with a student. And we're not dictating it has to be a certain way. The educator can try different things to see what is the best way to connect to my students?
Yes.
Is it greeting them at the door? Is it doing something as a class together? Is it doing like an extra recess together every once in a while? Is it doing a lot of encouragement to help them see that they can keep moving forward? Is it asking them how they're doing? Is it smiling at them when I see them? There's a ton of ways to establish a relationship, and you get to pick that. And you should pick that. That way it makes you an individual, and it makes it more exciting, I guess.
Well, more authentic.
There you go.
It's authentic. It's an authentic relationship versus a contrived one.
Right.
So the one thing, like, let's say you're like, I don't know what I bring naturally to the healing environment, because all of us are very different. Like Esther talked about, she's had very different teachers that manage their classroom very, very differently. And it's not good or bad. It's just different. And sometimes it's good to know, what do I naturally bring to the environment? What kind of style do I have? And we do have a test in our trainings that you can take to really look at, are you more of a boss that likes control? Are you more of a teddy bear who's nurturing and caring? Are you more of a defender who really sees things as they should be and you fight for things to be the right way in education? Or are you a connector who has quite a bit of these different things? And what we've learned over the years working with educators is you don't have to be everything.
No.
And if I know that I'm more of a boss, that kind of is more my temperament. And if I know that about myself and I accept that about myself, and I know the person across the hall is more of a teddy bear, when the two of us work together for kids, we actually provide the whole environment for the kid and do amazing things.
Well, it takes kind of that pressure off.
Yes.
Because I think teachers really pride themselves on doing a great job. Like that's important to most teachers. And knowing, I think they want to support their students. They want to be that person, and knowing that, you know what, we connect with who we connect with too. There's some of that's a part of that relationship piece that's going to be unique between you and your student. And if you're not fully connecting with the student, because sometimes that does happen, knowing, you know what, they might connect more with so-and-so. And that's okay.
That's that acceptance that the healthy role modeling.
It's that healthy role modeling, and it's working together. Like I love as an educator, as a counselor, collaborating with teachers and figuring out how we can all work together to do what's in the best interest of that child. That to me is some of the most fun. And it does, it takes that pressure off, and we can enjoy the student for who they are and with where they're at.
Exactly. So if you want to like really learn more and delve into the healing environment, we do have a small training that's just called the healing environment.
Yeah.
Or you can watch our healing discipline, Finding Joy in Working with Challenging Students, that not only goes over all the healing environment and takes a test about it, you can also learn all the different components and different strategies for each part of the healing environment. Or you can, our book too.
Yes.
Goes over it as well.
Wow. Yeah, you did.
What'd you think, Esther?
Well, honestly, it really helped me start thinking about my friends and how I sometimes get frustrated with my friends because they're a little bit more spontaneous than I am. Like sometimes we're doing something and it's the plan, and then all of a sudden they start doing something else, and it drives me totally crazy. But I see now that maybe I could, go with the flow a little better.
Yeah. And so do you think you could be a person that goes with the flow? Do you think you could learn how to do that?
I think so.
I think so.
And maybe this teacher this year is going to really give you lots of practice going with the flow.
And maybe learning how to collaborate with other kids, listen to other people more, try a new way of doing things. Just because you're learning a new way of doing things doesn't mean you have to change who you are. If you like what you're hearing and you want to learn more, you can go to our website at www.healingchildrenllc.org.
On our website, you can read more about who we are.
You can look at our online trainings.
You can also look at our blogs on a variety of topics.
You can see our most new and up-to-date podcasts.
You can also engage with us in a variety of ways,
such as liking us or following us on social media.
You can even hire us to come in.
Or you could email us or call us.
Exactly. Make sure that you sign up for our email list so that you can get the latest information about what we have to offer, including live trainings in your area.
Yes, so let the healing begin.
Thank you for joining our podcast, The Bumpy Road to Healing.
The Bumpy Road to Healing is sponsored by Healing Children, LLC. We are both educators and mental health professionals, which gives us a unique perspective on working with children both in and out of the school setting who have severe emotional and behavioral concerns.
Our mission is for all children to be emotionally healthy, happy, mature, and responsible. As adults establish healthy relationships and appropriate boundaries, we believe that children are more likely to grow and prosper.
When adults understand the impact of trauma, entitlement, disruptive attachment, and child development, including conscious development, they can better create healing environments for children.
To learn more about us and what we have to offer, go to www.healingchildrenllc.org.